Hi everybody, this is your favorite host sjsrana Rana, reporting for July 22nd, 2021, time about 13:27 hours UTC. So we're going to discuss a wide range of topics from Olympics to a Weinstein trial in California to what's going with the global weather phenomena, war-related disasters as I've been predicting for the last 6 months. So quickly jumping on the Olympics, we see there's going to be a big event coming up from July 23rd onwards, and we see lot many nations preparing for the event, where already scheduled soccer games and all these archeries, all those games are lined up. India is making a big claim that's going to claim lot many medals this time, based on the population density and the population spread, which is India is having 1.4 billion population, China is having 1.4 billion population, together about 25-26% of world population, so they should be bagging the most of the medals. Let's see how India and China fares up. I've already discussed this topic in detail in my last topic. You can take a look on this YouTube video. Quickly jumping onto the lawsuits by Carin and Devas multimedia, which is with the Indian Union. The lawsuits have been won by Carin against the Indian Union or the Indian government, where they have been asked by the court to seize India Union properties abroad, wherever in Europe, Canada, US, to compensate for their losses on the taxes, because the Carin had the tax lawsuit with India for about 1.4 billion US dollars, which it has won in Paris court. Also, devas multimedia is having the same lawsuit with India. However, the India government has been firm on it, stating that it doesn't matter to them a lot. These cases are not a big deal, and these international tribunal cases doesn't matter to India Union, because if their assets are spread across the whole world, the globe, it's a minuscule amount of seizure of India government properties by these companies. However, there is going to be a growing concern as to how United States District Court, which is known as Southern District of New York SDNY, is seeking declaration and money judgment against the Air India Limited AIL. It's an alter ego of Republic of India, India Union. Basically, this case is dragging on for many years. For now, since the Paris court has ordered seizure of India government properties and assets abroad, this has made a big news in India and Parliament, and they're discussing how to deal with future implications. Anyways, quickly jumping on how the COVID-19 is faring up. There's another basically COVID manufacturer, Bharat Biotech, is having a case with the Pomerantz, on the efficacy and on the level of information supplied by this Bharat Biotech, also known as Ocugen, which is partnered with a US firm, and it's basically listed in NYSE, because the shares are jumping based on some of the other news, whereas the law firm Pomerantz has already claimed that this is all false and misleading to the US citizens and to the world globe regarding the Bharat Biotech. So we'll see what the outcome comes out of this, because this is again another big issue. So anyways, moving on to the COVID-19 global report, we see India reports almost around 4,000 deaths for one day. 2 days back, which was quite surprising, because there seems to be some misreporting of the fatalities by India authorities. That's why they have to adjust these figures. But the authorities claim that there is a bigger problem with India government reporting on how much of actual fatalities are occurring. Quickly moving on to the pandemic of sexual assaults in India, we see how minor girls are being attacked by the Indian sexual predators population. Recently, a 14-year girl was impregnated by 6 men who kept on sexually assaulting and enslaving this female, which is a growing concern in India, because there is a anti-trafficking law, a bill being tabled in the monsoon parliament session, and we already see how many of the female folks in India are suffering, especially the minor girls are the target of predators population. And the trafficking law is still to be enacted, and there are many cases of trafficking, even foreign females from Bangladesh, from Nepal to India, which has come to the light of NIA, which is National Authority for the Intelligence, and it knows that there is a lot of trafficking issues with the minor girls, basically being brought up from Bangladesh, Nepal, and other nations to India for supplying to the predators population of India. This is so much so gross that the problem of this sexual predation in India has gone to leaps and bounds, where people even on streets, especially the female folks, can't walk freely. They know what they are facing when they walk on the roads, especially at night hours. If you look at Delhi, metropolitan cities, all these big cities, and the trafficking problem has been growing on because there is no actual bill or law enacted to assist the top cops, where they can go and nab these criminals and these organized criminals who are trying to traffic girls and females across the neighborhood, across the town, cities. This these small incidents may appear to be like some minor incidents, but you look at the gravity of the situation. A 14-year-old minor girl and 6 men. How could it happen that whereas the law authorities or the surveillance massive state of India can't even pinpoint or target these predators who are just roaming free or daily having fun with the females or the minor girls, because minor girls feel the pressure, they can't immediately report the crime, they even don't know what's going on with them because of these assaults. However, the massive surveillance state of India has totally been proven useless. Recently there were many cases appearing in the Indian courts, where they're finding people producing sexual movies, pornographic movies, and these are all coming under the combined act of national act of anti-trafficking act. And if this is enacted as soon as possible, I think a lot of these people, though a lot of these criminals, organized criminals, will be behind the bars. So we'll see how it happens. We're going to play a little clip here. You can see a plight of a simple group of women, females, who are walking on the street, faced by eve teasing and by openly asking them what's their rate, hourly rate, to be by these pimps, or you can say human trafficking agents. This is so prevalent. Every girl in India knows that once they walk on the street alone, they'll be asked such questions, and people, basically the male members, stalk them openly. And when they go to the park, wherever they go to the community park, males start stalking them. These are basically the agents of All India Human Trafficking Empire Association. They're spread across in India in millions, and you can see these incidents may sound sporadic, but it's not sporadic. Every girl in India knows this is the outcome when you walk in India streets at night. Such a horrific scene, and you see this graph. This was almost a 2 years old graph based on the NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau, released statistics, where you can still see how high number of human trafficking empire agents are spread across India and basically trading minor girls. And this is how they go on street. They stalk the females wherever they go. There are always 2 or 3 males who are associated with Indian human trafficking empire stalking females. So females somehow treated as if they are a male member who are trying to propose them, but they don't know they are basically working for human trafficking empire. I see it all around, even in front of my residence. I see this happening daily, and because I don't know what's going on, because I don't interact much with the people, I don't go into the delve into the details. But this is quite common, and this is why India needs to have anti-trafficking bill as soon as possible. Even these NIA agencies are trying to put up a separate FIR on human trafficking, illegal border crossing, and the amount of girls and females being trafficked. We'll see how the prevention mechanism is working now. There is a device available for female folks now.
If you work with rape victims and you see those lifeless eyes of theirs, their body is broken, their soul, their spirit, everything is broken. And it just can't carry on like this.
The Rapex device consists of an elastic sheath which contains razor-sharp barbs.
It's similar to a tampon.
Today at about July 22nd, 1:20 p.m. local time, IST, India Standard Time, I've already updated on my Yahoo Mail. I've sent to my followers all this information that what's going on with the trafficking bill, how India trafficking empire is flourishing in India with 70% YOY growth. Yes, folks, it's 70% YOY growth, and they say they can contribute 1% GDP to the India overall GDP by allowing human trafficking of females and minor girls. And this is such a insane topic to discuss, but it's of the prime importance because the insanity of these human traffickers, which are spread across in India in millions and millions, they're employing young boys, all these people who are unemployed, because India recently after COVID-19 had about 250 million unemployed workers, males and females. So you can imagine the amount of money they possess, the human trafficking empire, also known as shadow government of India, and the amount of employment they can offer to these people. So this is something where we have seen various reports on India's rape scandal, how it's not a scandal, it's basically a human trafficking flourishing empire. All these people are well connected with politicians, local officials in the community, and local elected officials are getting these free females delivery. You know, these people, how do you understand, how do you know that your community is under human trafficking empire agents? All you need to see and be watchful and careful of your neighborhood. When you see these people unnecessarily honking and racing on your neighborhood, unnecessarily honking with the bikers, you can understand these are human trafficking agents. They are counting amount of female left in the neighborhood to be enslaved, and they are basically honking in the neighborhood to signal the pedophiles in the neighborhood, in the locality, to tell them the amount of girls left and when the next delivery of minor girls will be delivered to their home. This is how it's happening. I know this, and that's why I keep reporting phase 3B2 Sasnagar Mohali is become a hub of human trafficking agents. These people come from everywhere of the locality of the town, and they come here to prey upon females, and it's been residing on a temporary basis in the different localities, houses offered as PG or temporary rental arrangements. So we got to look at these carefully. This is a growing problem. That's why the anti-trafficking bill is in Parliament. There are already 38 bills in this monsoon session of India Parliament. Let's hope they clear this as a priority basis and they come up with some solution, or else we see this whole thing, this culture of human trafficking empire overtaking the local governments all across by supplying females, free delivery of females to top connected officials. Even US has released the report on 2020 on India human trafficking tier 2. They consider India human trafficking as a big empire, flourishing empire, as a shadow government. So they've already put up in their report in the White House, Press House, briefings and release as human trafficking empire of India. It's a dismal figure that how India government is sleeping over this anti-trafficking bill, whereas this was the need of the hour a decade ago. But even a decade after, which we are talking at current times, it's too late, too little. But let's see, let's hope they clear up something and they authorize NIA, the Indian agency, federal agency, to have massive surveillance over these pedophiles, these sexual predators, and release some database to Indian people and females especially. Recently there was an spat, there was a flurry of incidents. This is a cabinet minister of India, Smriti Irani, who was even being found by a local professor putting up obscene comments and obscene remarks about her on social media. So imagine if a cabinet minister of India, being a female power, is not even being spared by these predators. What will happen to minor girls who are not connected to any official? That's why it is no wonder why India registers maximum number of rapes, which is 15 minutes raping a female by India Sexual Predators Association. So every 15 minutes they are contributing to India in the rape saga. So this is where the horrendous picture of India emerges to the world, and world still calls India as a rape capital. Quickly jumping on Weinstein. Yeah, this is, remember this Harvey Weinstein, this man, I've been covering this for last 3 years. Before even Me Too was trying to pin him down, I already told him told the world that
The
he'll be
former movie
convicted.
mogul
So
fighting 11
California
charges. He
wants to put
attacked
him on a
5
charge,
women
11
in Los
charges, 5
Angeles
women,
between
Los Angeles
2004
2004
and
to 2013.
2013.
They have come forward, and their lawyers, defense lawyers, is saying there's no forensic evidence.
Still,
I don't
his
think
first
they
legal
require
blow has
forensic
been
evidence
delivered.
in such case
Weinstein
of Harvey
extradited from
Weinstein.
prison
I think
in
he'll be
New York.
convicted
His team
for
had
sure,
claimed he
so
was
he should
too
be
sick to
prepared for
travel.
another 20 years
Doctors
in jail apart
disagree.
from his serving 25
his
years
spinal
of
stenosis,
already convicted
he
as a
can't
rapist.
walk. So his physical condition is degraded, and you can see this is very difficult for him.
Difficult too for his alleged victims, the LA-based women now having their chance to prosecute historic abuse claims against the convicted sex offender.
I can assure you it is not necessary to have forensic evidence in order for this case to be proven.
If ultimately found guilty by this court here in Los Angeles, it's highly likely Weinstein will die in prison. The 69-year-old already serving a 23-year sentence in New York. Any penalty he receives here will be on top of that. Still, no remorse from the man who sparked much of the entertainment industry's Me Too moment. Weinstein appealing his New York conviction and today indicating that if he loses in LA, this won't be the finale. In Los Angeles, David Woywood, 7 News.
Okay, quickly jumping on to this saga of India surveillance state, where they've even figured out a software, Pegasus, who has been being investigated right now. This Pegasus software was installed at various journalists, top lawyers, top cops of India. Even politicians were not spared, and some of the judiciary were not spared by this surveillance software. So this has become quite a big issue right now in India, and yesterday and today's parliament session are being basically hot debate topic on this, that how come this Pegasus software, which is known to be having Israel origin, is making segue into India and is basically targeting a lot of top-notch connected people. Well, the massive surveillance is a big problem. See, whether the government does it on innocents or whether a hacker does it, it's the same. The innocents get troubled, the innocents get victimized. So governments should also take a deeper look, a moral, ethical look on how much of surveillance they should have. See, there are two kinds of surveillance, I tell you. One surveillance is at public place. Even though at public place they should have a notification, let's say you install under the poles or some light post, then it should be put that this neighborhood is under the surveillance. Okay, but if you don't put the notice, then it's unauthorized, illegal. And if you're doing with the invasion of privacy of an individual, then you're basically not only violating, infringing upon his personal freedom right, but the human rights. Yes, surveillance is a human right. Recently, it was brought up by the High Court of India in Chandigarh, where they were found to have installed the cameras, security cameras, you can say the surveillance camera, in proximity residence of the judges. Yes, folks, can you imagine the High Court judge is having to raise such a primordial question that why he or his residence is being surveillanced by these cameras? Where are the ethics? Where are the codes? Where is the notification that they are going to surveillance the neighborhood? So this is a bigger question to the democratic nation. India is not faring well to be a massive surveillance state, and that too infringing upon personal privacy of people, not even notifying those people, individual innocents, who are God-fearing or law-abiding citizens or following the moral and ethic codes, but they are being surveillanced day and night. Even military is being found complicit in installing those secret devices. You know, those micro devices, you can say those tiny bots, they are being installed at the neighborhood by the military agents. This is height of it. That's one thing to be very clear. Who is going to address the problem of the massive surveillance state? You know, states, whether democratic or communist, they keep fighting about that. But democratic states don't fare well. Look at India, massive surveillance state. Do they ask individuals when they are doing a massive surveillance that where are your rights? Their rights are being infringed upon. And if you are trying to do it, and to those people who are innocent, who are God-loving, or who are following the moral and ethical code, then you are violating your biggest outlook of being democratic. And that's where the virus comes into being, because virus say, okay, you are super nature, let's try to teach you some lesson. That's why India is number 2 in pandemic. Look at India is already 31 million. And I predicted almost a year back when they were just not even in number 10. So this is all because of what we do. Our moral and ethical obligation lies towards the citizens. If we are not able to do that duty well, then God forbid, we're going to see a lot many things which we won't be able to explain. Also, look at the Olympics. We know it's middle of the pandemic, but if it's going through and everybody's accepting it, I'm with them because I'm with the people's mindset. We're going to see whose nations fare far better. Obviously, there's a strict competition between China and India because both of them hosting 1.4 billion population. Together, China and India constitute about 25% of the Earth population. So they should be getting at least bagging most of the medals. But we know China bags in top 3, but India is not even in top 5 or top 7. What's the reason behind it? Well, you figure it out. Why such laggardness when India is already hosting International Yoga Day? So what's good that Yoga Day when you can't even score in top 3 of the nations having 1.4 billion population, and you can't still keep up your folks having International Yoga Day, that you can't even come and compete in International Olympics. So this is something we're going to do introspection. Okay, also I'm going to quickly move on that, a lot of things which we are coming to see in the age, not even the bizarre comments which are going to come up from the audit cloud, which we've already seen 2014 UN 271, which is going to make very tragic development. Shangzhou province of China has been under massive water flooding, water disaster, and my heart goes to them. I have already predicted in my last videos for 6 months that we will see water-related disasters. Okay, quickly jumping on to the global ball games on war games. We see UK has been flexing muscles now. It has sent two of its fighter vessels to Indian IOR, Indian Oceans, which is a common India Oceans, and under the Commonwealth states. And UK can send their navy vessels, but the war games is basically targeting China. So they're having a mixed games with India as well, partnering with them to target China, which I think is a big escalation to the South Asia stability. And I know India is wanting to have a round 2 of 1962 war games, basically trying to win over the lost battle of 1962. However, India must be cautioned because the amount of military efforts required by India to even come close in defeating China is surmounting. It's tantamounts to having 3 or 4 times of India current military strength. So I tell you folks, this war games with the South China Sea or China is going to escalate. I've already predicted in my article. You can take a look at this article which I predicted 5 days back, that what will be the final outcome of the war, which may happen in 2021-2022 according to my predictions. And this is a detailed article where I've tried to put up 7-day war of India-China. So India will launch offensive against China based on the disputed borders, which is known as South Tibet, which is under occupation by India, claimed by China, because China got freedom from UK rule in 1949, whereas India got freedom from UK rule in 1947. So India took over all those parts which belonged to China per claims. So it's a disputed territory, and according to China mainland, lot of areas which are under India right now, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, and lot of part of Kashmir, and basically some part of South Tibet, the border of Nepal, Sikkim, China claims it belongs to China because India got freedom in 1947. It took over part of China, which China got freedom in 1949. So it could not have a international say for its defending its sovereignty. So I guess, folks, this war is inevitable. India is preparing. India knows that India has to fight a battle with China because India doesn't want to lay off hands over these disputed territories. India said, no matter what happens, we'll claim these borders, we'll claim these territories of South Tibet regions, and we'll continue with the war, whether it has to be a nuclear war or a nuclear holocaust on South Asia. So this grim scenario has been presented here in my article. I have tried to put up 7-day war, where eventuality I come up with is that India will be losing and had to surrender to China eventually. And in the 7-day war, India may register about 60% of its land turned to nuclear wasteland or nuclear ashes. you can call radioactive ashes, because China does possess one of the biggest and one of the most powerful weapons, which even US envies, which is DF-41 and DF-17. Yes, DF-17 is a hypersonic glide vehicle which India doesn't possess. India is only trying to understand the technology behind it, but it doesn't have a hyperglide vehicle, whereas China already has DF-17 and DF-41 ICBM, which is basically defenseless. Once it's triggered, once it's fired, it will hit the target, and it is having MIRV, vehicle re-entry, multiple re-entry vehicles. So folks, I've been telling these predictions are going on, and I see my site oneworldpress.wordpress.com, which I'm serving humanity for last 7-8 years continuously. Before that, I was on beforeitsnews.com. You can search by sjsrana for last 10 years on philanthropy and all these various topics, global social topics, ethical, moral, be it global philanthropy or global war games, geopolitical ball games. All these topics I discuss, and I try to bring up the reality. I don't fear what the governments have to say regarding me. They can keep trying to suppress me, repress me, oppress me, subvert. All these tactics they can keep doing, just like India government does most of the time. It tries to repress or to suppress my freedom of thoughts and freedom of speech. It tries to basically also lay down or have covert tactics of sabotaging identity around my neighborhood. I know a lot of people around my neighborhood are claiming a false identity and a connection towards me, whereas they don't, but they're trying to only leverage sabotaging of identity. So folks, be very aware. I've already tried to indicate on my WordPress site, on my communication, that I don't have any other person to support in my philanthropy work or these works. I'm working alone, and that's the reason why I always keep my doors locked up, which is my residence at 3B2 phase 3B2 Sasnagar Mohali as 1493. That's my house number. I keep it locked because I know I will be met with hate crimes, and the people who are sabotaging my identity are all around my neighborhood. Yes, folks, around this locality, around this house, they're all surrounding me, and they claim the identity. They try to sabotage. They try to do all those things, which I know, but I don't want to basically conflict with them, because I know eventually they will fall short. Because, there are three things in this whole universe that cannot be hidden for long: sun, moon, and the truth. Yes, folks, this was told by Buddha, a spiritual enlightened being who told three things cannot be hidden for long: sun, moon, and the truth. So eventually the truth will come out. Despite all these ordeals by the government and the agencies, I still continue to survive, and I still try to tell the tale of truth to the world. What's the reality? We humanity must prepare for as eventuality. It takes nothing to join the crowd, but it takes everything to stand alone. That's what I keep repeating. It takes nothing to join the crowd, but it takes everything to stand alone. Okay, folks, I leave you here with all these different material I keep presenting, and I hope you are doing well with your spirits, with high spirits, mind, body, and spirits. Okay, folks, I leave you here, and we'll meet you next session.